Jonathan Mark. Scientology seems to be growing in Taiwan. Do you think that the Church of Scientology will learn from its mistakes in the Western countries? Or will it reg, RPF, and disconnect Taiwanese adherents until they leave too? Is cult behavior so ingrained in the Church of Scientology that it can't stop? That's a good question, and you can also check out my video that I posted this last Thursday where I address some of the window dressing changes that Scientology has been supposedly making in order to be a kinder, gentler Sea organization, or Scientology, but in fact they're not really making any systemic changes at all. And yes, I think the answer to your question is basically that they will not learn from their mistakes, so no on that. And yes, they will continue their cultish behavior because Scientology is that way. From the very first videos I made, I pointed out that destruction and self-destruction is in its DNA. It is a destructive cult. It lines up on almost every characteristic of a destructive cult. You can find that list of characteristics on my website. There's a tab on the menu for cult characteristics, and you can check that out. Scientology fits almost every one of them. And so, because it's an authoritarian control system that basically exists to make money and feed power to its leader, there is no reason for the leader to create any change in that system. Why would he? He has no interest in doing so. Everything's fine as far as he's concerned. So, you know, as far as the Taiwan expansion or any other expansion the church engages in, they're going to continue their pattern of operation. And they're shrinking. They're not really growing. And I understand that they do have membership in Taiwan, that is an active situation there, an active scene. I think part of the reason for that, I've pointed out before, is that we do not have the critics' materials translated for them. So they're not seeing or hearing or aware of a lot of what we know here in the Western cultures, with Scientology specifically. So that could be part of the issue as to why. But if they're going to follow the exact same pattern, because Taiwanese people aren't Martians, they're human beings, and they're going to go through the same rigmarole and the same learning curve that everybody in the West already has gone through with Scientology, and eventually they will reject it, just like the Western nations are now doing. So that's kind of the situation there.